everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another Uma Talks YouTube podcast live TikTok show. Wow, I'm just all over the place right about now. But thank you so much for being here, whether you're listening to me on the Lotus Lounge podcast, on Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or you're watching me live from TikTok or YouTube. I am really, really happy to have you guys here. And I feel blessed, you know? I feel blessed. All right. So tonight's topic was actually suggested to me from one of my Lotus Lounge family members on TikTok. So I'm going to shout her out, Her Majesty. I see you in the comments. Hello. Thank you so much for the suggestion of this topic. It's so funny, right, guys? Because it was my intuition that told me last week, after last week's talk on empowering empaths, it was my intuition that told me to ask the question, is there a topic you guys would like to know more about? And look how this worked out. Thanks to Majesty, we now have a beautiful topic. And I know that this is going to be so helpful for so many of you. So welcome in to everyone listening. For those of you that are new, my name is Uma. I am a professional psychic medium energy healer. I own the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center located in Northern Virginia. And I'm also a soul alignment coach. That's a mouthful. So basically what that means is that I help people connect to their true purpose in life, to walk the path that their soul originally destined for them, right? And I mean, that happens a lot. How many of us get completely bamboozled with life or sidetracked or run astray? And then we're in our 30s or in our 40s and we're feeling lost or confused, or we feel like we have no direction. So the majority of people that find me tend to be in their later years. They've gone through the youth and they've done the family thing and had kids or gotten married or bought the house or got the job, right? Queen Angel said, that's me. Yeah. And then you reach a point in your life where you're comfortable financially, maybe not emotionally, but you're doing okay. And you realize there's so much more to life than I know. And I want to know more about that. I want to explore that. So this talk tonight is about how to tap into your intuition, because your intuition is what is guiding you. I've heard other spiritual teachers use this term, and I'm going to use this term with you. Your intuition is like your internal GPS. Does that make sense, guys? It's your internal GPS. So it's how you navigate this planet. And I want you to think about that for a second. How many times have you didn't know what to do, but you thought about something and it worked out for you and it worked out well? And you're like, oh, I'm so glad I thought about that. So one of the things I tell people is to trust, right? Trust your intuition. And I want you to think about it this way. Imagine you're an alien that landed on this planet and you have no clue. I mean, absolutely no clue what to do. Well, you would probably come to this planet with a GPS. And that is what you did, you beautiful soul. You came to this planet Earth with an internal GPS that tells you right from wrong, good from bad. Now, this is why a lot of people on the spiritual path don't follow man-made rules, religious rules. They follow their own internal rules, right? They make their minds up for themselves about what is right, what is not right, what works, what doesn't work. And that's why we say that on this planet, there's no right or wrong. It just is. So for one person, stealing is absolutely wrong. But for another person, my family's hungry. I'm going to steal that loaf of bread to feed them. Right? Right is right. Wrong is wrong. There's no right or wrong. It just is. So tonight we're going to talk about your intuition and how you can trust it more. So the first thing I want to start with is just clarifying for everyone, what is intuition? Intuition is an inner knowing or gut feeling that arises without the need for conscious reasoning. It's often described as a deep sense of understanding, insight, or a sixth sense that guides decisions and perceptions beyond logic and analysis. Now, that is the Oxford Dictionary definition of what your intuition is. So, how does your intuition show up for you? Well, it can show up as a gut feeling. We've all had that, right? That surpasses your conscious reasoning. You just meet someone and you know right off the bat, I like them. We're going to become best friends. You have no reasoning for that. You just met the person. How do you know? That's following your gut instinct. Sometimes intuition shows up as a sudden insight or knowing. Have you ever had that happen to you? Where someone's talking to you, asking you questions, and just out of the blue, you know the answer. Right? That's the sudden insight or the knowing. Intuition also shows up through repeated signs or synchronicities. How many of you have seen that? Repeated signs or synchronicities, right? The number sequences, you're thinking about someone and they call, right? Or you could also experience a strong feeling of resonance or dissonance in certain situations. Someone can say, hey, let's get in this car and go to this party. And you get a really bad feeling about that. And you're like, I don't think I should go to this party. I don't think I should get in that car, right? So your intuition is speaking to you. The problem is that most people don't know how to listen to their intuition. And that's where people like me come in, right? Spiritual teachers, metaphysical mentors. We come in, we give you guys classes, we give you guys ideas about how to trust your intuition. Why does your intuition matter? Man, there's so many reasons why your intuition matters. Number one, it helps you with your decision making. It helps you make better choices in relationships, career, life situations, even when you don't have all the facts. You know, a big thing I'm going to teach you guys here today, but the big thing that I do with my clients is I tell them follow the energy. And I'm going to teach you about that. When you can follow the energy, you will start making decisions for your life without the need to consult a psychic, a life coach, a therapist, anybody outside of yourself, because you'll start to learn how to trust what you already know. Your intuition strengthens your self-trust. When you start to learn to listen to your intuition, it builds confidence in your own judgment. And it also guides you towards experiences and opportunities that align with your soul's journey. I can't tell you how many relationships, friendships, career opportunities I've walked away from, trusting my gut, and landing into such beautiful experiences and connections that is meant to be part of my journey. Your intuition can also protect you from harm. Remember what I said? Imagine you're going to a party with your friends and something tells you don't get in the car and you don't, and then something happens to that car. So your intuition has been proven over the years to actually protect you as well. And your intuition, when you learn to properly use it, it can deepen your spiritual connection. Because by tuning into your intuition, it allows you to connect more with your higher self, your spirit guides, and the universe. So, I hope after all this information I've given you, you have come to the really real, direct realization that it is important to develop first and then trust your intuition. And because it's like a muscle, right? The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Majesty said, yes, I suffered for not listening to my intuition for many years. Facts. And it's okay because I believe, I don't ever believe anything is wrong in life. I believe everything is right. And I believe that even that was a gift from your intuition. Because now that you know, I have the power within me. I just got to learn how to read things. It's like, it's going to be even more stronger for you. You know? Okay. Now, all this stuff I'm talking about, guys, it is not just woo-woo stuff. It is not. Did you know that scientific research supports the idea that the subconscious mind processes information faster than the conscious mind, allowing intuitive insights to emerge before logical analysis? So here are some key findings. In 1983, a study was done by Benjamin Libet, and he found that the brain makes decisions before we consciously realize it. Using EEG recordings, Libet discovered that neural activity, the readiness potential, occurs milliseconds before a person becomes aware of their decision. So what does that mean? That means that our subconscious processes information and initiates actions before our conscious mind catches up to it. Isn't that crazy? Our subconscious mind processes information and gives action. It gives the command, activate, before you are even consciously aware of what is happening. It's kind of like, if someone throws hot water on you, to like sidestep it. But that thought and that direction to action was made before you became consciously aware of it. That is really important, guys, to tell you how powerful your intuition is. And then in 2008, John Dylan Haynes conducted an MRI study that showed brain activity predicting a decision up to 10 seconds before a person became aware of it. So this was a powerful study because this indicated that unconscious processing plays a major role in decision making. And that's why I keep telling you guys, it's so important what you pay attention to, who you listen to, who you hang out with, what you hear, what you read, what you watch. It's so important because there is so much subconscious programming going on. So if you're going to watch TV, watch Gaia. If you're going to listen to music, listen to singing bowls, right? Do things that are healthy for yourself. And get this, in 2006, a study by A.P. Digster-Hewis, I messed up his name, found that in complex decision-making scenarios, example, buying a car, participants who relied on unconscious thought, aka intuition, made better decisions than those who analyzed details consciously. This supports the idea that intuition can process multiple variables quickly and effectively. Do you guys want me to stop? Like, I can give you so much more studies that show you intuition works. So let's dive into the way intuition shows up in your life. There are 4 main types of intuition: Claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairsentience, and clairaudience. Claircognizance is clear knowing. That's when you just know something is true without having all the facts of a situation. That is actually my main gift, right? I have claircognizance, so I'm able to help my clients in situations they're involved in because I can see it in my mind's eye and I know it to be true. Clairvoyance is clear seeing, where you get intuitive visions, symbols, mental images. Clairsentience is clear feeling, where you get gut feelings, physical sensations, or emotional responses. And clairaudience is clear hearing, receiving intuitive messages through words, songs, or inner voices. Now, Majesty brought up a good point. She said, this happens to me sometimes when I am not flustered. That leads me to my next point. How to recognize when it's your intuition or your fear. And the first thing is your intuition feels calm, clear, and neutral. Just like what you said, Majesty. When we're flustered, when we have anxiety, when we feel fear, right? These things are fear-based thinking. They are not your intuition. Fear feels urgent, like there's a timeline on it. It feels usually anxious and overly analytical, right? Because remember, your intuition's not going off of analysis. It's going off of a feeling, not thinking. So for instance, let's say you like a guy and you went on a date and he dropped you home and he said, I'll call you later. And you're like, okay, and you're all in love. It's the first date. Still good, right? And then the next day, you don't hear from him. And then you start having the thoughts, well, it's only a day. It's not even 24 hours. So he's probably going to call me, just not right now. Or he probably got really busy. So I'm not going to call him. I'll wait for him to call me. You're going to feel anxious about it. You're going to feel fear about it. That is not your intuition. That is fear-based thinking. Your intuition would feel more like, I had a great time with him. Let's see where this goes. And the next day when you don't hear from him, you'll be like, you know what? I'm kind of upset I didn't hear from him, but that's okay. I'm just going to see where this goes. And something tells me he's going to call me this evening. And just like that, he calls you in the evening, right? So that's following your intuition. It doesn't have any fear attached to it. And also, intuition comes in the moment. Fear builds over time. So when you have fear-based thinking, it's like, let's go back to that story about you going on a date and getting dropped off, right? Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And it's now Thursday, 4 p.m., and you haven't heard from him. Fear-based thinking, you have been clocking each of those hours, right? Intuition comes in the moment. I'll probably hear from him tomorrow. I'm not going to stress about it, and you leave it alone. So I want you to think about a time when you just knew something and tell me, or you don't have to tell me, you can just think about it. How did that play out for you? Did it work? Did it not work? Were you right? Were you not right? I know most of you are going to say you were right because we have intuition and we just have to trust and know what our intuition is telling us. I do a lot of readings on TikTok and in real life at my center. And the love readings are always the funniest to me because the people that ask the questions, is he cheating on me? Is he talking to someone else? Is he leaving me? Those are the ones that know. But it's almost like they need validation from someone else to prove to them what they already know. And I feel like if people could start trusting their intuition more, then you won't need really and truly psychics or readers or mediums because you'll be able to figure it out for yourself. Right. So someone in the chat said there was a time I was fasting and praying and my intuition told me to check my boyfriend's phone, the voices in my head, LOL, my intuition told me to check and found the separation agreement. Yeah. That's your intuition. That's exactly how it works. It just drops in. Sis, you might want to know about this. You might want to know what's going on here. And it's not meant to scare you or freak you out or bring terror to your life. It's just meant to let you know so that you can make your decisions about what you want to do next. Hi, Kim. Belinda said, my intuition told me my medical results were going to come back good, and they did. Yeah, we all have intuition. And when you learn to trust your intuition, things become easier. So, there are some daily practices that you can do to enhance your intuition. The biggest thing that I do, because you guys know I'm a psychic and I do readings for people, I do about between any day, I can do between 20 to 100 readings a day. And of course, when I'm saying readings, I mean like really mini readings, not the full 30-minute or 60-minute readings I do with my clients, but the mini ones on the live streams. And I have to be very, very clear, like I have to be a clear channel. So the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is I meditate. I meditate, and I recommend all of you to meditate, even if you're not a reader like me. You don't have to be a psychic like me to meditate. You can just meditate because when you meditate, it clears the mental clutter in your head to hear your inner guidance. It like the best thing I can tell you about meditation is it gives me like this clear space. I have a buffer between me and the world. So when people are coming to me and demanding, you need to tell me now, is he going to call me? Tell me now. I refuse to send you a gift on TikTok. I refuse to pay for your readings. Give me a free reading, right? That's how it becomes. People are just like yelling, hurling commands at you. But I don't take any of it personally because I'm just like in my zone, you know? Lisa asked, how do you meditate? Well, the way I teach people to meditate is the way I actually meditate. I do mantra first. I have my mala beads and I do 108 repetitions of my mantra. And then I put my mala beads down. I close my eyes. I sit in my meditation chair. I put a blanket over me. I hold a crystal in each of my hands. I close my eyes and I go within. I just focus on my breathing. But after that repetition, after that mantra, I tend to be in the zone and ready to meditate. Now, I will tell you, I have a meditation room just solely for meditation. And I have incense that I light so it smells the room nice. And then I have like relaxation music playing. So when I'm ready to actually sit and close my eyes and go in, I'm ready to go. And I'll be gone for like maybe 10 to 20 minutes a day. Yeah. Belinda said, I've meditated before, but the first time I ever tried, I saw a red bouncing ball and a bird fly. It took me forever to be able to relax completely. And it does. It does. Because your mind is like a 3-year-old child. I tell people, your mind is like a 3-year-old child. And it's like, for those of you that have never meditated, it's like the child that you gave a lot of candy to and just let it run. Let it run in the store. Right. You have the 3-year-old mind, Lisa, respectfully. Lisa said I can't get my mind to calm down. And that's why when I teach, because I do meditation instruction. Sometimes people book me for 5 days, Monday through Friday, where we meet in the mornings and meditate together. Or sometimes they book me for a one-time thing. But I teach them how to do the mantra, to quiet the mind, and then to learn to sit. Now, for those of you that have never meditated or you struggle with meditation, give yourself a good 2 to 3 weeks for your mind to calm down. Give yourself a good 2 to 3 weeks. And then you'll start to see a difference. The one thing I'll tell you is meditate at the same time every day in the same place. That helps because the repetition of it, your body starts to become accustomed to what you're doing. So the first couple days, maybe the first week, it'll be really hard. But by that second week, your body's like, oh, it's 7 a.m. It's time to meditate. Where's her incense? Where's her mala beads? It starts to be cooperative instead of providing conflict. So meditation is a great way to enhance your intuition. Also journaling. Now, people ask me, should I journal before I meditate or after? And I tell them it depends on how you feel in that day. Because most times I meditate first and then I journal. But there are some times when things are really on my mind and I can't quit it. I can't stop thinking about it. So what I do is I journal to get it out of my system. Because journaling, right, actually strengthens your intuition. Writing intuitive insights strengthens trust in your insights. Because as you're writing, you're starting to think more about whatever it is that's bothering you. And the more you think about it, the more you're getting like this expansion. And this is where the intuition hits. Well, maybe they weren't really upset with you. Maybe they were just going through their own things. You know what? I think that's what it was. Didn't she say she had to go to the doctors today? Oh, that could have been stressful. So maybe it isn't me. Maybe she didn't mean to yell at me. And then it just kind of like takes off from there. Also, I find, I don't know about you guys, but I dream. Do you guys dream? I dream, and I find that I often get messages in my dreams as well. So I have two separate journals. I have a journal that I write in, like when I'm going through my things, but I also have a dream journal that gives me an idea of what dreams I had and what messages my subconscious is trying to tell me. Yeah, Lisa said, I have vivid dreams every night. Some are so bizarre. I think, why did I dream that? Write it down. It's funny how you think they're bizarre until it comes true. Like, I remember one time I had this dream where there was this large king cobra. It was like 20 feet tall and it was in front of me. And I was terrified because I'm terrified of snakes, you know? But I remember in the dream, I instinctively felt to turn back it. And it didn't attack me. In fact, it stood behind me and it was like raised up behind me and it spread out. So it was like really wide. And then I realized it was protecting me. And when I woke up in the morning, like that week, I found out that there was a group of girls I was hanging with that really weren't my friends. They were like gossiping about me and, trying to like do all sorts of crazy stuff. So it was like a dream warning to be careful about my friends and who I associate with. So dream work, journaling, meditation, these are all daily things that are free to do that you guys can do to strengthen your intuition. Also mindfulness, you know, mindfulness, staying present sharpens awareness of your subtle messages. So if you're sitting in your office and you see a red cardinal pop up, you're like, okay, that's a message. Become mindful of your surroundings, become mindful of your time, become mindful of like everything. You can apply mindfulness to everything. Whenever I want to lose weight, I just become very, very mindful of what I put in my mouth and how much time I spend working out. That's all. And I lose the weight very quickly, because I feel like the mindfulness part, it's because we're not being mindful. It's because we're absent-minded. We're just going through our day and moving from one thing to the next is what makes us get into all these precarious situations. So learning to like just be mindful. Okay, it's time for me to go on stream. Before I came on here, I got to sit in my little reading room. I have a reading room too. I got to sit in my reading room and journal and drink some tea and just take a minute, before I came on here to be like, okay, what do I want to talk about? What are we focusing on today? So that's why whenever you guys hear me come on Wednesday for this Uma Talks, I have a very calm voice. I'm very clear, calm, right? Because I took the time to really set my energy. You know why? Because I want you guys to get the most out of these talks that I do. I do. All right. Now, you might ask, Uma, are there any tools that we can use to strengthen our intuition? Absolutely. I love tarot and oracle cards. And in fact, I teach tarot cards and oracle card readings because when I teach these classes, I rarely teach them for people to become a healer or a professional light worker like myself. The majority of people I teach are regular day-to-day people, moms, dads, daughters, sons, friends, employees, government workers, right? And thank you, Majesty. And it's like I teach these people because the understanding at Lotus is, why give someone a fish dinner when we can teach you how to fish and you can have as much fish as you want? Okay? That's the understanding behind my center. So all the classes I teach, I rarely teach them to people to become healers or psychics or mediums. Now, there are a few, right? There are a few. And I have 2 women right now in my 6-month program where they're training specifically to become the next healers and psychic mediums of the world. But most people, guys, I have to tell you, 90% of the people that see me are taking these classes just to increase their own powers within themselves. So I would recommend, wherever you are in the world, get with a tarot card teacher, read a book on tarot and oracle cards, take a course, whatever it is, learn tarot and oracle cards, because then it can strengthen your intuition. You know what I tell my students? I tell them to pick a card in the morning, write down what you feel this card means, how your day is going to go, and then at night, check it back. Did it come true? Was your intuition correct? And if it wasn't, that's okay too. You're learning, you're growing, you're processing. Okay? All right. Let's talk about the main reason why we are here. Overcoming blocks to intuition. Right? I feel like strengthening your intuition is great, but if you don't understand the blocks that you face, it's like half the battle. So there's the common block that I have found when I'm training my students, my psychic mediumship students. The common block is overthinking or excessive use of logic. It will kill your intuition because your intuition isn't coming from the mental realm. Your intuition is coming from the spiritual realm. So when you start to think about things or use your logic, you're moving out of the spiritual space and you're moving into the mental space. Does that make sense? Also, people move into the emotional realm when they have self-doubt, insecurities, fears of getting it wrong, fears of being wrong. All that plays on your emotions. Another block that can dull your intuition is people outside of you, external influences, societal conditioning. How many times have you been with a group of people, whether it's your friends, your family, your coworkers, and everybody said, let's go down the path of A, and you said, I really think we should go down the path of B, right? And it was like right there, that was the path you were supposed to take. Exactly, Majesty. Majesty said, like, when I thought with logic that he wasn't cheating on me, but you told me he was, right? Because when people book me for readings, it's a funny thing. They book me for a reading, but then when I tell them what the cards pick up, it's almost like a shock. Like, no, there's no way this can't be. And this is not the first time this has happened. This happens a lot of times. At least you were gracious about it. You didn't curse me out or anything. I've had people curse me out, yell at me, tell me I'm a fake. I'm like, okay. And then they'll come back, undoubtedly, whether it's weeks or months or years, they will come back and apologize and tell me you were right. But it's not about being right, it's about following the intuition, right? You got to follow the intuition. And sometimes I don't even need to do a reading on someone because my intuition is so strong because of all the development I've given it over the years. I had a client today, a young 19-year-old girl, who said that she was moving in with her boyfriend. And I already knew it was a bad idea, but I waited until she gave me all the information to let her know it was a bad idea. The bad idea turned out to be she's 19, he's 27, she's from America, he's from Africa, and they've only been dating for a month, and he was already talking about marriage and prenups and children, and also didn't want her to work. He would provide for her. In fact, he wanted her to work with him. He wanted her to be around him 24/7. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this young girl doesn't even realize, because my intuition was telling me he was purposely preying on her because of her age, because she was so young. And come to find out, there was other things that came up. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not your mom. She's like, well, my mom and dad won't talk to me, and my best friend left me. I said, don't be mad at them. Yeah. I said, don't be mad at them because they're just looking out for you. And I said, you still have a long ways to go. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, you know? So if you are an overthinker, you rely on your logic too much, that can block your intuition. If you have self-doubt in yourself or you're afraid of being wrong, that can block your intuition. People outside of you, societal conditioning can block your intuition. Right? How to trust your inner voice? It's simple little everyday things. Use small everyday choices to practice trusting your intuition. When you wake up in the morning, right? Ask yourself, what do I really want to do right now? As soon as I wake up, what do I want to do? And if you're like, you know what? I really want to sleep a little bit longer, or I want to meditate, or I want to go for a walk. Start trusting your intuition and following through with it. Also, a big thing that you can do for yourself, on a side note, is release your need for validation from others. Your intuition is personal to you and to your journey. No one needs to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you're getting out of it. None of that. When you make decisions for yourself, don't feel the need to share it with everyone in the world. And like everything in life, your intuition is a muscle that is best used frequently. The more you build your intuition, the better it gets. So be okay. Have grace with yourself. If you trusted your intuition and it didn't work out, you trusted your intuition and it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go. That's okay too, right? Take it as a learning experience. Sometimes you're going to have success, sometimes not. But it's okay because all of this is growing your intuition. Now, there are practical exercises for developing your intuition. One of my favorite ones is the yes no body check. It's like I'll close my eyes and I'll ask myself a question and I see how I feel about it. Uma, it is 8:46 p.m. After this podcast, go outside and run a mile. No, that doesn't feel good at all. I just took a shower. I have my pajamas on. I don't want to run a mile. That doesn't feel good. So that's a no from me. Uma, after you finish your podcast, go make another cup of tea. Take this time off to relax before you have your 10 o'clock show, The Great Debate. That feels really late. You know, it's nighttime. I'm winding down. That feels good. I'm going to do that. So yes, no body check is very easy to do. You just close your eyes, ask a yes, no question, and feel how your body responds. Hi, Aisha. You can also do color or object guessing. So I have when I was developing my intuition in the early days, I did the Zener cards. Do you guys know what the Zener cards are? The Zener cards are you have a different shape on the cards. You don't have to buy the Zener cards. You can make it yourself. You can get a bunch of cards and put a triangle on some, a circle on some, a square on some, and then a star, right? A diamond, and then shuffle them up. And then try to guess what is on the cards, and then do this every day. I remember when I first started, I got 4 out of 20 right. And by the time I was done, I was getting consistently between 14 to 16 right. It was wild to see how much growth, And that's not using your logic. That is using your intuition. Another way that you can exercise your intuitive development is to ask for signs from the universe. Ask for the universe to send you a sign and then stay open to how it appears. That is a big one to do. Signs from the universe is huge. Another way you could do it is listen to music in the car. Before I turn on the radio in the car, I say to my spirit guides, give me a song or speak to me through a song and let me know what you want me to know, right? That is a pretty good one. Take the time to integrate your intuitive guidance, your intuitive development into your daily life. There's so many practical ways you can use your intuition. You can use it to make aligned business and career decisions. You can use it to navigate your relationships with confidence. When you really trust your intuition, you'll start making decisions that have no logic attached to it. And you get used to people doubting you because of the lack of logic. For instance, I was hanging out with this group of girls, and this one girl said that she was pregnant. My intuition told me she was lying. So I was the only person that did not believe her. All my other friends made fun of me. They were telling me my psychic senses were broken. The girl was getting bigger and bigger in front of me. She was telling me she felt the baby kick. We had a baby shower for her. I bought diapers, even though I don't know why I bought diapers, because this girl's not pregnant. And I just trusted my intuition. I didn't make a big deal about it. I didn't, yell at people. I just trusted my intuition. Well, she was not pregnant. The due date came and left, and there was no baby. And then she disappeared from the friend group. And then everybody was hitting me up and saying, oh my gosh, Uma, how did you know? Well, that's the thing. I have a very strong connection to my intuition, right? So Get used to knowing things that other people won't know, and get used to being okay with the fact that people don't trust you. And then wait, because eventually it'll come through what you're saying, and then they'll trust you. Now, intuition is your guide, but remember, it is not a replacement for your logic. I find that the best living is when you combine your intuition with your logic. Then you're like a powerhouse. You're unstoppable, you know? And I will tell you this, if you really want to encourage your intuition to grow, there's other things you can do too. Number one, surround yourself with spiritually aligned people, okay? These people will encourage your intuition. They won't try to block it. They won't try to tell you you're crazy or why would you think that? They will support you and say, hey, if it feels right to you, then do what you got to do. Create daily rituals to strengthen your intuition. For example, if you get up every day and meditate or pull a card for yourself or do your journaling activities, these are all great ways to strengthen your intuition. And lastly, follow the energy. When you follow the energy, you start to pay attention to what feels right, who feels right, and then you start to move away from the things or the people that don't feel right for you. It's that simple, really and truly. So as we come to the end of this talk, I always open it up for Q&A. If anybody has any questions about the topic at hand, you guys can put those comments in the comment section now if you want to have any questions about this. But I'm going to leave you with a closing affirmation that you can use on a daily basis to start strengthening your intuition. And the closing affirmation is this: I trust my inner wisdom. I am always guided and supported. I trust my inner wisdom. I am always guided and supported. I hope this talk was beneficial to you. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you now know the difference between fear-based thinking and following your intuition. And I've given you some tips and techniques and tools to use to strengthen your intuition. You're welcome, Majesty. I definitely did this for you. So I'm going to leave this with you guys, and I will be back later on TikTok to do the nighttime readings, the mini psychic readings, and spirit guide messages. And then at 10 o'clock, I will be live again to do the Great Debate, which we are now airing on TikTok. So this is a show that I do on another app. My co-host and I are bringing it to TikTok tonight. This is the first time we're going to do it. It will be at 10 p.m. Eastern. And it's an open box party. Shani, you're welcome. So you can request the box. We're going to have 4 topics, and you can jump in and share your opinions on any topics. And it's open and welcome to everybody. We welcome everybody's viewpoint. Okay? So that will be tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for coming. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's session. And if you want any more part of this, this is recorded on my YouTube channel, The Lotus and the Light on YouTube. You're welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much.